Hi, and welcome to the HUMA Beats and Eats podcast. I'm Marni Wood, your host. And today, if you can't already tell, I am lucky enough to have Dennis Schocket as my interview guest. And he is the first interview in my new studio. Woo! So I'm very excited. So I get lots of firsts with everybody. It's very exciting. Welcome. Thank you so
Marni.
much for being
Thanks
here.
for having me.
I appreciate it. I have a lot of questions, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Let's do it. All right, here we go.
Yeah, you too.
Let's go.
All right. So first, I see on Facebook you always post. It looks like you're in your house, maybe. You have your school rock friends around the bar.
Oh yeah. I built a little bar in my basement.
Yeah, it's very cool. I was wondering if you could have the 5 most influential or personal people to you at that bar, along with, you have Rich Pressberry's there.
Yeah, Rich
and Pat Sesko's.
That's all my local buddies. That's
yeah.
I try to do that once a year, have like a little thing at my little pub, because if you're a musician like me or Brian or anybody, you don't really get to hang out with your buddies because on the weekends you're always playing. Or I like to have my guys over, my friends, Pat Sesko and Dave Steele and anybody who plays music. And there's so many I couldn't get them all. But,
I know.
But I'll get more next time. but so my 5 most living or dead, or do you
whatever you want? Yep, whomever you want.
Oh,
if you could have your choice.
Holy cow, that's a toughie.
I'm sure it would.
Well, I mean, I'll just go living, because dead could be anybody.
Yeah.
Right? So Penny, you would be invited for sure.
Yeah, keep her away from the alcohol.
You would be invited. Yeah, you don't want
she
that.
just gets water.
I'd love Paul McCartney, because Paul McCartney is my biggest musical influence. I just love him. I probably wouldn't know what I would say to him, even though, like most guys, you rehearse it and thinking about what you would say, and then I would just clam up. That's how I get starstruck around.
I was just going to ask you, get awestruck.
Even guys, like even if I saw Bob Turk, I'd be like, what do I say? So it doesn't matter to me, the status.
You just start singing My Girl.
Yeah.
Bob Turk.
I would, Paul McCartney would be great. I would love to have Ray or Dave Davis of the Kinks. They're my guys. And Neil Finn of Crowded House. I'm just going musically, strictly speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of other guys, artists and things, but gosh, who else? Like John Fogerty would be great to have. Steve Martin. These are all guys that influenced me, as a kid, but I think those would be good.
Very cool.
Dead guys, it's easy to pick. You pick John Lennon and Tom Petty and Jesus and JFK.
You can run the gamut.
You just pick them. So, yeah.
That's neat. Briefly talk about why you decided music was your road and what was your aha moment.
Yeah. Well, I got into music relatively late, because I was in high school before I even knew how to play guitar. And
really?
There's this kid sat behind me named John Jones, was a transfer student. I went to North Harford. One day he just had a guitar and he was sitting behind me between classes and he was literally playing songs on his guitar. And I couldn't believe it. It never even occurred to me that you could do it for yourself. I just figured you needed formal training, or you had to be on TV, or you had to, you had to be famous. So. So that made me think, that was an aha moment. Like, holy crap, that guy's literally doing it. And he was a nice looking dude. He was cool, new to school. So he was mysterious. I was probably infatuated with him, like this guy. So I would follow him around and he'd show me chords. And then when I got out of high school, I just put a band together, because you don't need to have to know how to play an instrument to put a band together. I learned that. But, So
I could be in a band.
Yeah, anybody can do it. I mean, you make the music. Together. The Ramones are a great example. Yeah. They just put the little chords, and they just did their thing, and they're great. But yeah, I just I kept at it. Part of it was like when I was 20, I had a job, but I could make extra money on the weekends. And then I got married and had a kid, so I needed that extra money on the weekends. So it wasn't, I didn't have some master plan that, by the time I'm 30, I'm going to be a full-time musician.
What were you doing?
I did construction work. I did some flooring, or I could build houses and things like that. I realized at some point I was making more money playing music in 3 days of playing music than I was banging nails all week long, and I didn't have anybody yelling at me. And so I eventually just went full time, and I started, if you do anything full time, whether it's you're an artist or you start your own business, you got to figure out how to pay the bills. And so there's no more motivation needed than how am I going to make my car payment? So I better do something.
Right.
So that was it. So I don't know that there are lots of aha moments, but it's one of them was like, holy crap, I just made more money this week than I did working my ass off. So it was cool. So,
was it gradual, or did you just kind of stop?
I mean, I was playing a couple gigs on the weekend, and I thought, wow, if I could just, and then a place in Bel Air, it's not there, but it used to be next to Sean Boland's, it's called Souvenirs. It's a little bar in town. I think they gave me every Wednesday or every Thursday night.
Oh, okay, good.
So that was like another $300-400 a month. Which was a lot of money back when I was, 20, 25. That was a bit like, oh man, maybe if I get one more date, then I'm so, and then, if you do well and people attend your shows, you can ask for a little more money. So that helps. And but that's it. It's just a gradual process. I'm old now. I feel very fortunate to get up every morning and know that that's my job. So I'm really proud of it. And
you should be. And we're all very fortunate too to be able to come
you're
see
so
you.
Nice. It's not everyone's opinion, but that's fine. But I'm glad you guys did. Thanks, man.
So I like to share with everybody, if I can remember, the first time I've seen them perform or my fondest memory, because it all ties into my. I'm so inspired by the music and food and everything. So it really helped me get through everything.
Okay.
So for you, aside from being at my wedding,
it's true.
But I think they were two different times, but both were at the Lodge, because I can't remember the first time I saw you play. But one time we came to see you, and I never comment, I just don't really, because I don't like to bother. I know it's not a bother, but I don't want to
I know what you mean. I know what you
mean. On you had posted about what a good night it was, or what, and it really was. It was a nice night. So I had posted, we really enjoyed you. It was a lot of fun. And you said to me, you guys always look so happy together.
It's true.
And that really it touched me that what you noticed. You know what I mean?
It's kind of hard not to notice a woman just dancing right in front, going to town, getting her steps in. So, but no, you guys are always, you and Brian are delightful.
Oh, thank you.
So I still feel that way. I really do.
And then the other time, this one, it just touched me. It was around Christmas time. I think it was 2022, I think. And you were at the Lodge. It was like a week or two before Christmas. And it was all decorated. And you were asking people to come up and sing with you. And it was crowded. And everybody it was just so festive and so genuine. And I was just really touched by that experience. And it always sticks out to me.
I love having people come up. I really do. And I always joke that it's kind of like Huck Finn had his buddies paint the fence for him. Or was it Huck Finn or Tom Sawyer? Anyway, he's doing it and he hates it. And he's convincing his friends that it's so fun. You should try it. And they all do it for him. But that's not, I genuinely love to see somebody I don't even know get up and, here, you can play my guitar, or do you want to sing? I really like it. It really makes me feel good. Because someone did that for him. Mike White, who's a local guy around a few years older than me, played forever when I was young. He was playing some bar in Bel Air, Friar Tuck's. And I was just watching him, and he was just playing by himself. And I might have been 21. And I was like, man, I know how to play some songs. So I was talking to him on the break, and he said to me, well, why don't you go up right now and take my guitar and play a couple songs? And I thought, oh, how the hell am I doing that? But I did. And I had been in bands up to that point. And, when you're in a band, if you get applause, the whole band gets it. It's like a team sport. But I went up and I did a song, and everybody clapped. I couldn't believe it. It wasn't that great. They were just being nice. And then he said, just do another one. So I had to do another song. And that was an aha moment. You mentioned that earlier. That was like, wow, I did that. So I'll never forget. I've told Mike that on numerous occasions, but how important he was for that. I love that. So thank you for bringing that memory up. That's really nice. I'm glad about that.
Yeah.
Good.
And actually, your background mirrors a little bit Russ May's, because when I interviewed him, he had somebody playing guitar behind him, and he was like, "Oh, what was that?"
Oh, wow.
And you encouraged him for the open mic night for his first time.
Yeah.
So
and that's a good one. That's going on a long time. And Russ lived in my house, incidentally, for a little while.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah. Happy to have him. Come back.
Well, hopefully he'll get everything.
Yeah.
And he'll be back to his old self.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Okay, so the Harford County music scene.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's unbelievable. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Can you compare it to anywhere else?
Nope. I can't. I've been in it for so long. So it's like, to me, it's like watching your kid grow. 1 minute she's 5 and the next minute she's 25 and you don't notice it, but suddenly there they are. So I think the Harford County scene is that way. It used to be, there were maybe 3-4 bars in town and everybody had to go to Fells Point. If you wanted to get a gig of any kind, you had to go to Fells Point or Baltimore or the county, Baltimore County. And then eventually started, more places. It doesn't take much to have an acoustic guy or girl. Yeah. It's not a big, it doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of anything. Oh, hi. The scene's crazy. I have friends who live in New York and Los Angeles and Nashville and everywhere. And when I tell them I'm a full-time musician and I make the majority of my money from playing live, they, what?
Yeah.
You can do that where you live? And, this area is good. You're 3 hours from New York. You're an hour and a half from Philly. You're an hour and a half from DC. You know what I mean? I mean, you can get to some really important hubs for the creative aspect of it if you have original songs. But you can also just drive an hour to 2 and you've taken a wealth of venues that will have you. But I mean, the scene's ridiculous. I mean, I always say if you're not gigging, if you're having trouble getting a gig, you just keep looking because there's a lot of places that like doing it.
And open mic nights, I know a lot of people say that they get, sometimes the places like them enough that they'll ask them to perform there.
I think that's the whole point of an open mic is, back in the day, you used to make a demo tape or a CD or you put together a press kit and you'd hand it to a guy who owned a bar. Now you can here's a link and then he can click on it whenever he wants to. So that's better. And then, or you could say, hey, come to this open mic. I'm going to do 3 songs. So you can audition and have somebody, or the place that's holding it will see you play. So that's a great thing. Any way to get yourself out there, I think is really good.
Yes.
But most like, I'm 61. So, I mean, there's kids that are 20 that hopefully are watching this that are way ahead of me that already know all this stuff because it's all out there. I figured it out on my own, like, I'm a self-taught musician. I figured out how to promote myself. But YouTube's there. I mean, you want to learn. Like I use it now if I want to fix a plumbing issue. I know how to do it.
I know YouTube is like,
there it is. I'll try that. So.
I think YouTube is like the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Amazing.
Really,
amazing. I used it today, actually.
I do use it all the time.
Yeah.
Who would you want to collaborate with locally that you have not already? This is a couple questions in one. Is there anyone new? Are there any new on the scene musicians that have caught your ear? And who or what locally piques your musical interest? Like if you're not thinking about that, but just in general. Yeah. Like what piques your interest where you'd be like, hey, that's kind of cool, or check that out.
Yeah. I'm hosting like a singer-songwriter thing up at Falls and Barrel House every other month or so. So I'm really intrigued by all these guys and girls that are songwriters because I thought I was the only one, honestly, because you don't really see a lot of original music in the area. As good as the scene is for people playing, you don't really get a thing where you're sitting and there's 3 songwriters taking turns or whatever. So I'm encouraged by that. Anthony Frigia is probably my favorite. I love Anthony. He's such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And
he's great.
He's fabulous. I mean, he's great. God, there's so many I could just... JD Sage, my old buddy, lives up, up in the hills out there.
Yes.
I met him years ago and I couldn't believe, 30 years ago, he was at one of my gigs and he told me he worked in Nashville and he was a songwriter. I'm like, well, do something. And he just went up and did this song and I couldn't believe how good it was.
Oh, wow.
Like, I was like, man. So we became fast friends. Cooper Wade's really good. There's just so many. I see him. Scott Spivey and local bands, and I'm missing tons of guys. But I'm inspired by anybody I see, and even guys that are like part-time guy, a guy who's got a day job and his band plays on the weekends. Man, I I'm blown away by how good guys are. And then you can see levels. I mean, nobody's on the same level as everybody else. I'm certainly not on the level as some bands. But, you just got to live in your space and try to improve. But so all these guys inspire me. Like and girls. Yeah, it's really hard to narrow down. I'm just really stoked about the scene in general. And because there was a time like Rob Fahey and I were talking years ago, and there was nobody doing solo acoustic stuff. And we thought, man, it must be a dying art. Really, because karaoke is kind of coming in. So that's how long ago it was, maybe 30 years ago. And we just thought, man, we're an endangered species here because we're doing it. And then, Thursday nights is acoustic night, but Wednesday is karaoke night. And we thought, wow, there's fewer of us around. But then I started seeing all these young guys show up, and now they're all out there. They're great.
It's a lot.
I sound like I'm gushing, and I should, because we're really lucky to have. Yeah,
there's always someone to see somewhere, and it's usually pretty good.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's rare that it's rare that you go out, and I might see a band that I don't care for, and that's usually because the music doesn't speak to me, but it doesn't mean that they're not good. I don't want to name names because it will sound like an insult, and it's not. They are so good at, say, Metallica. That's not my thing. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't listen.
Right.
But it's rare that I ever go out and hear a band and go, oh, we got to go. That never happens.
Yeah, because you can appreciate. That's what it is. You appreciate even if it's not your taste.
Absolutely. And I know I'm sure I've had bands that maybe they're on the next level and they're playing sold out theaters. And maybe they see my band and they're kind of like, well, whatever. I'm sure of it.
I find that a little unlikely.
Like, oh, geez, look at these guys. Look at this geezer up there. But I'm really inspired by everybody in our local scene. And it just seems more and more the better everyone does, that whole, rising tide lifts all boats. So we all do better. It's a real good, thriving scene. And like I said, if you pay, a solo guy or a girl or a duo, it's not a lot of money to invest. If I owned a bar and this guy wants to come Wednesday and he brings 30 people and those 30 people spend $20, that's $600 in the ring. You can afford to pay these people.
Yeah, so it's worth it, definitely.
Yeah.
Speaking of inspiration, you said in your interview on Mouthful of Graffiti, so I did my homework too. Rubber Soul, the album, blew your mind.
Yeah.
I want to know why.
Rubber Soul, the Beatles. Well, for a few reasons. The obvious reason, it's a great record. But when I was a kid, again, it's pre-internet. So when I was 12, I was discovering the Beatles in the mid-'70s. So the only albums that we had in my house were their greatest hits, which were the blue and the red albums. And it was, Beatles 62 to 66 and then 66 to 70. So, so that was our Beatles collection. And I really loved those records. And then I think for Christmas that year, my mother gave me a Beatles album, and it was Rubber Soul. And I went, the hell is this? She said, it's the Beatles. You like the Beatles, right? And I said, yeah, we have all the Beatles. And she said, no, that's their greatest hits. And I went, oh, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. There's more? We've already got 40 great friggin' songs.
Right.
Like, they can't possibly have more. So I put that on, and just every song that I didn't know, of course there were some hits, but I was just like, I can't even explain the feeling and the discovery of that. I get chills thinking about it to this day.
Really?
50 years later, 45 years later, I'm like, just put it on. And there's a song on there called I'm Looking Through, and it's Paul McCartney. And it was so good. I can remember sitting with headphones and looking at my mother and father in the kitchen, and I must have looked like this.
Like the Home Alone kid.
Yeah, like, how is this possible? Like, mind blown. And I know that's now that record really holds up. It's a great record, but all the Beatles stuff is great. For me, that's my thing. But that's the story of that one. And the only other time that's happened to me, incidentally, was, again, I got the White Album a few years, like a year later, because now I'm full on Beatles guy. Give me it all. I get the White Album, and I'm up in my bedroom cranking it for days and days and days. And one of my speakers didn't work. So, you have a stereo. So I only had one speaker. So I listened to that album for a month and devoured it. And then my brother came home with a new speaker and he plugged it in. And there's a whole other record on the other side on that speaker. Like, again, I was like, what is happening? Like there were strings and things like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like watching a movie and then suddenly it's in color. You're like, whoa. So anyway, that's that.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I know playing the Cavern in Liverpool must have been amazing for you.
Obviously.
But I want you to, if you can, describe your connection and feelings when you were able to do that. But I don't know if that would be, one of my questions was your best or favorite musical experience.
It's up there for sure. A few things. So we got a friend of ours, David Bash. He runs the International Pop Overthrow Network. And they do a series of concerts globally. And they've been doing it for probably close to 30 years. And my band, Starbelly, which was my original band, we played the very first one in LA back in the late 90s, early 2000. And they just so happened to they do it in Liverpool every year. And we had just put out our latest record, which was maybe 4 years ago. They invited us to come over. It's hard because my particular band, Starbelly, I live here. One guy lives near Philly. One guy lives in Annapolis, so we don't really play a lot together, but we have to mount these little tours to get together to play. So we all agreed we could do it. The cool thing was we all brought our wives, which is rare when you go on the road. And Brian, our guitar player, he brought his two sons.
Oh, nice.
Brian Ewald, Aiden Ewald, and Julian Ewald, both boys who are fabulous musicians. So to go to Liverpool is just Mecca if you're a Beatles guy, or really any musician, but that's where it all happened for me. We play the Cavern, and we're playing songs I wrote, or we wrote, but my songs and our songs to a really nice, full, sold-out crowd. And it was religious for me. It was very... I was very emotional because they're my brothers. We've been in the band together for close to 30 years. And the fact that they're willing to like, yeah, we're doing this. And they felt it the same way I did, which is where you get four guys together. It's still a bit of that bro stuff sometimes. Not so much with us, but you're kind of like, I'm not crying, you're crying kind of thing. But it was really, that was probably the highlight of my music career, just being there. And we played 3 shows in Liverpool, so it was really cool.
That is cool. Very cool. What era do you think was the most influential musically? Not your favorite, but unless you think they are.
Well,
like that era. I know they're huge.
I think historically speaking, they would say between 60 and 80, that 20 years, like the 60s and the 70s. But I'm also biased because of my age. But for me, actually, the 70s were really influential to me because that's when I was getting picked by my own music. And I think that's really, it's hard to be objective about that, know? But I'm sure every music historian would say the Beatles hit, and then and then Nirvana, through and Nirvana and that whole, there's always like a sea change in music every 15 years or so. But I mean, that, they talk about classic rock radio and classic rock's music from 2010 now, what I mean? But which blows my mind. But they talk about like the longevity of songs that were started in like, especially late 60s during like the Vietnam War and the protest aspect into, the 70s as being the ones with the most staying power as far as that goes. But like the Eagles in that period, 70 to 80.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not be influenced by that?
Right.
But there's great stuff today. You just have to,
that's
find it.
One of my questions is, how do you feel about the music today? Because it is different.
It's different, but it's not. The first thing you have to recognize when you get to this age is a 25-year-old artist, he's not trying to reach me. He's trying to reach my kids. So if I hear something, I want to make sure I'm not my dad hearing the Cars in 1980 going, what is this? You know what I mean?
I know, because I know when I hear my girls and what they, Elise and Jenny, what they listen to, and I'm like, what is this crap? And then I'm like, oh my God.
I am
my
her.
parents said the same thing to me when I was their age.
So you'd think as a musician, right? But I try to be really open-minded. My one daughter, Danielle, she loves Taylor Swift. They're the same age. And she'll send me a song, Dad, this is brilliant. And I'll go, it is, but not for me. It's brilliant for you. Or I'll go, but I can also recognize any artist, any piece of music, and I can find, sometimes I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But I also can say, I'm not supposed to get it.
Right. Like I don't get the EDM, the electronic music.
Don't get it?
I don't get it. I've got no problem with it, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
And
I'm with you too. Like that, I was early on when rap started. They weren't I missed it by a year or two because all the guys a couple years younger than me were way into it, and I'm like, I'm not getting it. I appreciate it now a whole lot more, and now that I hear it, I go, wow, I missed it, but I wasn't the type who was going to go, that's crap.
Yeah,
I was like, again, I'll use Metallica. It's amazing. It's just I don't cook like that. So when I see Metallica or if I see NWA, I go, that's good, but that's not for me. But I can recognize how good something is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always try to keep an open mind about music. And it's rare that I hear something I'm like, oh, geez, turn that off. I do. A little new country kind of bothers me a little because it does seem very formulaic. As I realize all music is formulaic to some degree. But to me, it sounds like they just fed it into an AI and pulled it out the other side and went, that'll do. That's, and I know that's part of it, but it sells.
Yep. Yep. Somebody likes it.
Somebody wrote that song has a bigger house than I do. For damn sure. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Who's your best collaborator? Who do you like collaborating with?
Cliff Hillis. We write songs for Starbelly. Cliff is a really gifted songwriter in his own right, has a really good solo career. He lives up in Phoenixville. He and I write together quite a bit. We put an EP out last year called Pop Girls, Etc., which was just 6 songs that we wrote without having to do a message. Sometimes if I did a solo record 3 years ago, a lot of personal songs and dealing with death and life and joy and sex and dreams and hope and sex and dreams, all that stuff. And then you really put a lot of time. And this was an exercise. Hey, I got a song about a girl named Everly. Oh, well, I have one about, let's do 6 songs, an EP about girls and, and it was great. It was really cool. And it came out and did really well. We sold a lot and we got some airplay. But Cliff's my main collaborator as far as that in the original aspect of it. But I have a lot of bands. So I think on any given day, anybody that you're working with could be considered a collaborator. Because if you put a band together and you take all that time to present what you're presenting, whatever it is, if you're doing Creedence, like Brian, which they're great, Lodi, or I have an ELO tribute band called Atomic Light Orchestra. If you take the time, all that stuff out of the view to rehearse it, to try and get it right, to go, okay, here's what we do. Everybody's important and they're all collaborating. And you have to go, man, thank you so much for taking the time to learn this song or to perform it correctly. And there's nothing worse than being in a group of people. When there's a weak link, it really shows up because if you're doing somebody else, if you're doing cover songs, we've all learned the parts. And then the one guy who doesn't, something's wrong. You didn't add the right ingredient in the right amount. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm always thankful to anybody I play with. And I typically only play with people that I care for. I couldn't imagine trying to be creative with somebody that you just don't like.
Yeah.
Like if you have a job where you go every day and you get hired and they say, okay, you're going to sit here, your desk is here, Marni's here. If you don't like Marni, oh well, you got to figure that. You got to figure out who couldn't like Marni, but you got to figure it out, right? But if I say you and I, let's start a business together, and you're sitting there and I don't like you, that's not going to work. Yeah. So, or why would anybody want to put themselves through that? Right. That's a tough thing. So, and sometimes it's heartbreaking to figure that out because you do invest, and it happens.
Yeah, and you're close with the people, and it's not necessarily that it's bad between you and that musician or that other person. It's just that particular project is not working.
I bet if you ask the people that I play with, they might say I'm a bit of a dick. And I'm not. I am. But they might go, no, he's very particular. Like if there's a mistake, I'm going to look right at you and you made a mistake. If we're rehearsing, I'm like, right? And if you're like, no, that's not wrong, we're going to stop and go, oh, okay, here's what I'm hearing. Is it this or is it that? And if you go, it's that, and I go, it's this, and you go, no, it's that, you might be right. Okay. Oh, cool. I'm good. I don't have an ego that way. I'm happy to go. Or if there's 2 ways to do it, well, do it your way. I don't care if that's easier for you. Just do it that way. Yeah. But somebody's got to be driving that ship. Right. Somebody's got to go, hey, rehearsal's on Wednesday at 2. Somebody's got to say, and here's what we're going to do. Yes. Otherwise, you just show up. Well, what are we doing today? I don't know. What do you feel like doing today? You can't do that. And sometimes you get pushback from guys and girls, and you have to figure out how your personality, how are we going to make our personalities work for this? Does it mean I step back a little bit because sometimes I think I know everything, but I'm not under the illusion that I do. I'm just like, well, it's a G, a D, and an E. Yeah. And you might say, well, it's actually a G, D, and an E7. I'm like, oh, well, that makes it better. Great. You know what I mean? Thank you. Yeah. Or I might insist, no, I really want to hear this because whatever the reasons are. Sometimes you stand your ground. Other times it's just about negotiating, working, trying to figure it out.
Who's your biggest supporter?
My wife, Sherry.
Yeah.
My wife, Sherry. She's the best. I'm a full-time musician and I'm very proud of that. And I have been for many, many years, half my life. But it sure makes it a whole lot easier when you have someone to just go, hey, you got that, you're doing good. Or how was your show? Or why did you get home at 2 and not 1 o'clock? Because you also want to be, so, that support comes with a price. And the price of having somebody so supportive is to respect them. Right. If I'm running late, if it's late, I'm going to send her a text. There's no reason not to get in touch now. We have little devices. Yes. So, but she is my biggest supporter. I have a lot of support. My family has always supported me, my kids, my wife. I sound like I'm just saying it for her benefit, but it's the truth. I mean,
you can tell you're sincere.
It is the truth. You really got to have someone that's hands down nobody more supportive than her.
Who do you like to see in concert? Like if you go to a concert, what do you like?
Locally, in general?
In general, like if you had bought tickets to...
I was, for a while, I was trying to click off all the classic ones I could. McCartney. Ones, ELO, because I love that band. Bob Dylan, Mark Knopfler, just guys that they're getting older, and who knows, Petty, thank God I saw him a few times. Yeah. He's one of my favorites. Crowded House, all the bands that influenced me for years, I will go see. I'll go see anybody, but like my wife and I went to see Fleetwood Mac with a bunch of friends.
Oh, cool.
When all 5 were together. So it was about maybe 10 years.
Yeah, that's a while ago.
Locally, I wish I got out more to see bands. I do play 4 and 5 nights a week sometimes. And if you have a night off, if you're a musician out there, you kind of don't want to go. But I try to get out and see my friends, especially my friends that come see me. But yeah, I mean, I like going to see bands in small venues, like something like the theaters that are around town, like small places, because it's usually a regional band will play in a theater and they'll have a local band open. So you can get to see a little bit of both. You know what I mean? That's my thing. That's what I like best.
It's a little more intimate.
Yeah, I think so. And you can get to talk to them when you're done. If you're going to see, a band in an arena, you're not going to get to talk to anybody. But you can go right up to anybody in a small theater and say, hey, man, I just want to let you know I really liked what you did. Or do you know this guy? He says hi. And that's a good way to, get a thing going with people. So,
very cool. One of the conversations that always comes up, how many bands does Dennis have? And we try to round them all off. Well, wait a second. And and then we talk about, we wonder what the journey was to all those bands. Yeah. And did you start them all? How do you juggle your time between all of them? And do they get preference? I can name a couple, but I don't think I could name all of them. And you have a new one coming.
I do. Well, let's go like this. So my first band that's together is Starbelly. So that's the 4 of us. Brian Ewald, Greg Schroeder, Cliff Hillis, and me. We've been together in various forms. Cliff and Greg and I started it together. Then Brian joined, but Cliff left. And then Cliff came back. And then we're 4-piece. But that band's going on close to 30 years. And that's strictly an original band. But when we play locally, if all 4 of us aren't playing, then we just do some covers and have fun. If it's 3 of us, we just, because it's difficult to do our music missing a guy, Right. So rather than play the song and make it sound twee, like there's a missing guitar part, we just don't. And the 1974, which is a local band, we play all 70s. That was started with Spike Settles and me and Greg Schroeder and Dave Woodworth, just doing all 70s. And then after a few years, then Spike left and Tim Gilliams joined, who used to be in No Pets for Noah. He's in the band. Keith Brewer of the Ravens was in the band for a while. And then he left and Bronson Wagner joined. So there's that band. Atomic Light Orchestra is an ELO tribute band. None of my bands, we do wigs and costumes. We don't do any of that stuff. We just play the songs. Again, like Lodi, nobody's dressing up. Although Marshall looks strikingly like Mr. Fogerty, I must say.
Well, and they all wear
sings
flannels.
just like him. Yeah, at least put on some flannels. A gold lame is not really going to work for Lodi. So Atomic Light Orchestra, the Fabtastic Four, with all Beatles. Again, we're just playing the songs. House of Finn is a Crowded House tribute band. And then I have a thing that I just put out starting now. It's called Wildflowers Songs by Petty, which really focuses on Tom Petty's solo stuff. So he had 3 solo records. So that's where it draws most of it from. But it's just an excuse to play songs that I like. And hey, do you like Tom Petty? Yeah. Do you want to be in this band? Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And that's how. So a lot of the same players. So Starbelly guys are in some bands, and ALO guys are in 74. And it's not as difficult to juggle that many people, because if I can get a gig for ALO, well, 3 of the guys in that band are also in this band. So and I get everybody's dates. I mean, we make it work. And sometimes a cancellation might happen, or can you fill in for me and I'll do this and whatever. It's just really an excuse. Just for Atomic Light Orchestra, I was actually in Philly seeing ELO, had a little suite at a pre-party, and Bronson Wagner, who's in the band, was there, and Greg Simmons, and we were standing there having a drink, and they're playing ELO music, and I said, I'm putting together an ELO tribute band. And Bronson said, I'll be in it. and Greg Simmons,
sign me up.
Greg was standing there, and I looked at him, I said, do you want to be in it? He's like, oh, hell yeah, I'll be in it. So we had 3 of us right there. So it was just on a whim, but we thought that's difficult music to cover. So, but we did it, and so that's basically the germination for all of them. Just a reason to play songs you like. And these days, tribute bands are big.
I know. And you do Mrs. Thatcher also?
Oh, Mrs. Thatcher, yes. With Mr. Rob Fahey. Just an excuse to play with Rob. Rob's a hero. So
he's definitely special.
I tricked him into it. I'm like, hey, you want to be in a band and just play all British rock from the 60s? I'll do that.
There you go.
So he fell for it. So we do that.
Yeah, very cool. Another topic of discussion is your extensive song knowledge. People cannot get over just how you know so many songs. It's an incredible amount that we don't think many people could achieve. Can you dive into that? Like, do you just have like a muscle memory, photographic memory?
I think so. It's not I don't have a photographic memory. I don't. But I know songs have patterns. Chord. Like you could recognize that this chord pattern is the same chord pattern over 10 different songs. So if you can kind of keep that in mind, My Best Friend's Girl is 3 chords. It's also the same chords to The Joker by Steve Miller, or Let It Be are the same chords to All the Small Things. Like, so you recognize the pattern. So then if somebody says, do you know that song? You can kind of go, it's one of those patterns. So once you can figure that out, it's good to go. Like, I've just always been able to have good recall I won't get all the lyrics right, of course, if I'm just doing a song out of the blue, but I can get the spirit of it, or if you were singing it, I could definitely, the lyrics are the tough part. Like,
you don't want me singing it. I'll dance. I can't
If you were singing it.
If
you were singing it. So, if somebody will come up and ask if I could play a song, I'll say, I've learned it, or I played it before. Do you want to sing it? And if they say, yeah, then it's really easy, because then I'm just kind of finding my way through the chords, and I get one wrong, but the next time around, you're like, oh, that was a minor, not a major, I've just been able to learn a lot of songs because I'm really intrigued by songs, especially if there's a song and I hear it and I don't recognize the chord pattern for whatever reason. A lot of times I'm like, oh, what is that? So I'll sit down and I'll figure out how that song's played, and then now I know it. And then it's a pattern. So, I recognize that pattern in that other song. So I don't think it's as miraculous as anybody says. It's just, I just feel I can do. I have pretty good recall for it.
I remember one night, it was at the Lodge again, and you were, I don't know what song it was, and you were like, kind of like, I don't know if you had started it or whatever, and this young gentleman with his phone walked up to you and said, do you need help with the lyrics? And you were like, no, I don't need help with the lyrics. I'm a professional. Because you don't look at your, you don't.
I hope I didn't come across condescending.
No. It was funny.
F off, kid.
Yeah. No, you didn't say
I'm
that.
a professional.
But it was.
Watch me
funny.
get all these lyrics wrong. Professional. But I don't like to rely on iPads. A lot of guys give me crap because they think I'm an elitist that way. I'm not. If you want to have an iPad, use it. Whatever helps you get your performance down. I don't like to because I find that if I'm any song in one of my bands, if I have like a cheat sheet and I use it, I have to continually use it because I'm not committing it to memory. And it's like, becomes like a bit of a crutch. You know what I mean? To me, my only issue is when guys, if you're going to use an iPad, that you don't have it standing next to the microphone like that bothers me. And maybe I'm a bit of a dick, but put it down here, put it down there, or make the font bigger. Because I don't want to go see a Broadway play and have somebody, how dare you, Jenny? You know what I mean? You wouldn't do that. Like, well, again, I don't mind cue cards. If there's cue cards and a guy's saying his lines and you know what I mean? Just maybe I make more of that than I should, but I don't want to use them if I don't have to.
I think it's a personal preference.
Like if I was seeing a guy in a pub playing a Neil Young song, I don't want him to read me the lyrics. I want him to sing me the lyrics. And if you mess up the verse, I'm not going to think less of you.
Right.
I'm going to go, oh. I might not even go, oh, he messed up that verse. Who cares? I mean, people you'd make money on me messing up verses. Right. If you had to count, all right, let's put $1 in the kitty every time he messes up a lyric. $30 by the time I got done. $30, you're done the first set. But I'd much rather, there's something much more organic watching just a guy or a girl just really kind of, you can see someone searching like, oh, what is it? Even if they take an extra few chords to get, that's right. It's more rewarding that way to watch somebody really work that thing to me. But that's me. That's not everybody.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people younger than me, that's quite acceptable, and that's fine. I'll be gone. So once I'm gone, you guys do whatever the hell you want. Like, I'm not here. But,
with your solo act, are there always a number of songs that are staples? And then you vibe off the audience, or do you say, I'm going to start with this song or that and read the crowd kind of thing? Yeah. And then you started an alphabetical jam.
Yeah.
So how did that come into
okay.
Because people seem to really like that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, first part of that is I never have a set list when I'm playing by myself. My bands all have set lists because you all need to know where you're going. But when I'm playing by myself, I just kind of get up and tune up and I'm ready to start. And I just try to think of a song to start with that I think is genuinely acceptable from people, that people might go, oh, I recognize that one. Because if you're playing in pubs, that's my job, is to play music that people want to hear. Right. It's not my job to go up and go, here's 8 songs that I just wrote the other day.
I'm going to try them out.
My dog passed away and bear with me. Like that's, the owner is not paying me for that. Right. So I understand it. There's a time for me to play my own stuff. If I have a record out, I might say, hey guys, come out on Sunday. I'm going to play my whole record. And then going in. But I genuinely start, just playing, and then I can kind of feel the vibe. I can judge people by, not their age, but I could see if somebody's my age, they're probably going to like things that I like. And if there's somebody my kid's age, I can gear it towards something that might have been they might have liked when they were 15, which maybe 20 years ago, whatever. Right. But a lot of times it's, if I do a thing called the alphabet. So you just start with any letter, but if you start with A, you pick a band, starts with A. It could be ABBA, Allman Brothers, and I'll do a song or maybe a song by both groups or a portion of it as much as I can. And then you move to B, and it makes the hour set really move because you get done the song and then people are already Creedence or whatever, and they're really engaged. Yeah, not that they're not engaged, but they're more engaged. They're more engaged, right? They're more paying attention, right? And you don't have to be if you don't. If you want to just tell me to piss off, I'm just like, what's this guy doing? No, I think it's fun. It is fun, and it's a good exercise for me personally. It might be for anybody else, but you really challenge yourself to Foo Fighters. Do I know a Foo Fighter song? I know one. So, and that's the only rule I have is like, I'll give you what I got, and I'll try it. And it might be terrible. It might be, or I might not even get through it, Or I do that with, the harder version is to do that with song titles, the alphabet, It's a song that starts with B. The Bitch Is Back by whatever, like Brown Sugar. Brown Sugar. Like, oh, here we go. Right. So, but to me, it's fun. or you pick a color, or any color. Just a song with blue in it, Baby Blue, and you play that, and Red Barchetta, and it's very fun. And before you know it, the set's done, and you're taking a break, and people gearing up for the next one, and you pick animals for that set, song Hey Bulldog or Blackbird or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. I enjoy it.
I liked it too. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
When you're working on music, is it solely for Starbelly? Is it just for you, or is it in general? And do you try to learn like new songs? Like you said, maybe the game would lead you to, oh, maybe I should learn another song or two. Or like that.
When I was younger, I used to, people would ask me to do a song, and my thing back then was, if you come back next week, I'll learn it this week for you. And I most of the time was able to do that. I was also really young, and it was easy to learn. It's easy to learn when you're 30 or 25. It's a little harder now, but I don't really learn a lot of new music because, again, it's not really speaking to me. It's not. I don't hear a lot of new music that makes me just go like, oh man, what is, like I was talking about earlier, what is that? But I do learn a lot of old music because somebody will mention, or I'll hear someone on driving home, I'm like, oh, that's a great old song. How's that go? And I'll go home, learn it real quick. And if it's an old song that but you don't know how to play it, it's easy because you know how it goes in your head. If it's a new song, if I had to, at your wedding, if you said, can you learn this song? And I'd never heard it, that's really hard because I don't even know how this thing goes. You can do it. But the first part of that, when I'm working on original music, I just write songs, and I try every day to really sit down and be creative, whether a song comes out or not. And then it might be determined that particular song is for my band Starbelly, or I might be working on something for a collaboration with a friend of mine, or somebody here's a song, the bridge is crap. I can build a bridge. I'm good at that. I call myself builder. I love writing bridges. Just slip it in the middle of that song. So I always try to be creative a little bit every day because it's good for your brain. It's good for your, you feel good. You feel like, there's a lot to creating, like any art. If you're a painter or a sculptor or anything, woodworker, there's a lot goes into it. And it's funny, during COVID, my wife worked from home. We built her an office upstairs, and I was working on my solo record right at the same time. So I'm in my little room, my living room with my piano and my guitars. And after about a week of her working, we were having dinner. She said, I'm really glad that I get to be here because I had no idea how hard you worked on this. Like, she would come home from a day at work and the dishes are in the sink, and she'd say, what did you do today? And I'd say, I worked on music. And she'd be, the hell you did? Like, what? So it was very good for our relationship even. She said, I really never understood she would hear me play a part of a song 100 times in a row because I'm just trying to get the syntax right, or the pronunciation of a word right, or replace it with something else, as songwriters know. And to me, it's just over and over, and you're getting it, no. And she would come down and she'd say, I can sing you that part by heart because I've heard it. So,
you heard so many times.
So that was very good, So I don't know if that's answering your question without getting too far off, but
you're good.
But I love that. I love to work on music. I just feel good doing it. I feel like I'm accomplishing something,
Who are your favorite female artists?
Rachel Hall, locally. She's my girl. I love her. I've known her since she was 16.
I'm going to interview her too. I'm excited.
She's great. I love Rachel. She's also a really good songwriter. Emma Kleinberg, also a local artist who lives in Nashville now. She went to high school with my daughter Noelle. She has a publishing deal in Nashville. She's a great songwriter, and I helped her when she was young, learn guitar. She was a student, but her parents are really good friends of mine. She was on American Idol for a while. She got the top 10. She's a wonderful song. She's like that. But I love Brandi Carlile. I think her songs are powerful. I love Adele. I really do. I mean, I really love, and she's a good songwriter, but like her voice, that vessel that she has it's rare. I wish I had that. Like I can sing. I make a living singing. Obviously I can sing, but I hear some people sing. Spike's a good example. Some people sing and you're just like, that's really something going on there that's different than something more to it than just being able to carry a tune.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I love those female artists. Like Sheryl Crow, I love Sheryl Crow. I think she's ballsy
Yeah, I like
chick,
Sheryl Crow
She's
too.
great,
Yeah.
There's some, and I'm missing hundreds of them. And Rachel is great. This is not taking away from any lady who sings.
Right.
Rachel has that quality, that thing that when she sings something, I go, And I don't get that from others.
Right.
Not that other singers aren't great. They are. But there's a quality. Like I mentioned Spike. When Spike sings, I can sing Zeppelin, but I can't do it like that. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So when he does it, I'm like, man, there's something going on there that is untouchable to me.
I read a book about Janis Joplin, and I was very impressed, like during her time, how much work went into cutting and splicing and putting together the album and playing and all of that. And
Right.
like she'd be up for 36 hours and all of that. Did you ever work that way? And then can you discuss how creating albums, even in the 90s, differ from today?
Oh, yeah.
And take me through like an album journey.
Yeah, I think I've been recording, I guess, for over 30 years, because it was in my 20s when I started it. So back then, of course, you recorded to tape, 2-inch tape in a big studio. And back then, you would go down to a studio, before anybody had their own studios in their house or on their computer. You went to a big room that had big tape.
Yeah.
And it was a whole process that you did. And it was expensive. It was, I think back in 1991, I had a band called the Rattlecats. We were recording a record at Oz Studios, and it was $50 an hour. Now, that came, they paid for the engineer in the room, but $50 an hour in 1991 was a ton of money. I mean, that was a lot. And you're paying for it yourself. So you're in there and you're getting mad because the drummer messed up a take and you're like, oh, we got to do it again.
Yeah.
And every minute's it's almost $1 a minute if you think about it. Or you'd get in there and guys would be talking and I'm going, yeah, I don't want to hear about the girl you went on a date with, dude.
Okay, we got to get moving.
Come on, dude.
Time is money,
You know what I mean?
literally.
It was a fortune back then. So so that's the contrast. And now, I could record on this.
Yeah.
Record a demo. And luckily for me, that Brian and Cliff, both of Starbelly, have really good studios in their home. Small, but everything's in everything's in these little things. So luckily I can go there. I just did a Christmas EP right before Christmas at Brian's place down in Arnold, Maryland. And it's fabulous. And went in, we sit it down. Very easy to record these days. But the work is before, like writing the song is I've got, for every time I do a record, I start a folder, writing lyrics, stick them in there. I never throw anything away because sometimes you have to go back and they're like that thick.
Do you just like sit at a desk and write, or do you ever like carry a journal or like get inspired? Like if you're reading, do you read books?
I do. And a lot of times it's things I hear someone say, a turn of a phrase or something. If somebody says something interesting, I'm like, ooh. So I'll put it in my phone. Now you can type in your phone. And I used to have paper and a pad like the old days. Yeah, and where I write it's in our living room. So I have a really nice little baby grand piano. And I've got a bunch of guitars and a desk with a computer. And and I sit and then I'll maybe write something on a guitar. And I'm not a great piano. I can play piano, but I'm not a pianist. Like real. I'll just go and try and find melodies and things like that. So it's really a nice little thing. I get up, take a break, walk into the kitchen, and go back. And, but to me, that's where all the hard work is. The writing, the recording now is simple to me, especially. And the other thing back then, if you had a part you liked it and it came up again in the song, you had to sing it again and again and again. Now you can. We try not to cut and paste very often, but every now and then, and you've got auto tune, very little usage, but it's like a sander, kind of takes the edge off sometimes if the note's a little sharp, but try not to rely on it. Yeah. But I mean, I think that's the big difference, know.
Do you ever think about writing a book yourself?
Think about it all the time.
Because I've noticed recently, I got one from Peter Gabriel. He's my favorite.
I love
Peter
him.
Gabriel. Yeah. And then I got, so this is what I do. I get inspired and I buy books and takes me forever to get to them, but that's what I do.
Yeah.
So we saw a Fleetwood Mac tribute band at Harford Community.
Oh, cool.
On Valentine's weekend, and they were really good.
Yeah.
And Fleetwood Mac also, both of them have books on how their songs came about.
Oh, cool.
And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think
like that would be cool. Maybe.
I think if I had achieved a little more, a higher level in my career, I do great for what I do, and I'm under no illusion that I'm somebody that I'm not. I would consider writing something, but I mean, if I wrote a book, it would most likely be fiction, because I mean, if you want to know about me, you can tune in here. I'll tell you anything you want to know, but I don't know that I have anything to offer other than, the experiences that I've had. But I don't. There's more ways to do it than the way I did it. I'm not famous or anything. I'm just a local guy. I'm local, but I do it. I'm really proud of what I've done, and I'm quite pleased with the way the universe unfolded for me. And I say I'm really lucky. Like, I don't know anybody luckier than me, because I also have imposter syndrome, like most artists do. Like, when I'm playing with guys that I admire, in my mind, I'm like, they're going to discover that I suck sooner or later. But you'd be surprised how many artists feel that way. Yeah. Musicians, especially if I'm playing with somebody that I really respect, like Rob Fahey or
Brian's the same way. Yeah. Because we'll talk about, and he's like, oh, if I had to play with him or if I had to play with her, I'd be nervous.
Yeah. And I've played with guys that are on that level that I've admired. Yeah. Like my Starbelly, we did some gigs with Jason Faulkner, who was in the band called Jellyfish, who's on tour with Foo Fighters right now. He's filling, and has played with McCartney. So we know him. And like, if I saw him, I'd say, hey, and he'd say, hey. Yeah. Like, and I'm not name dropping because you don't know who the hell that is, but that's a guy.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
No, I'm saying,
I'll nod my head and smile.
But somebody out there watching is going to
go,
Jason Faulkner, right?
Yeah.
But like, that's a guy. When we were playing with him, I'm like, oh, he's totally going to look at me and go, that's wrong. That's terrible. You play like shit. But that's not how it doesn't happen that way. No. But in my mind, I'm always like, oh, man. So I really think I'm very lucky. The humility is not false. It's not false. I really am humbled. So if the fact that you even wanted me here to say, I want to ask you some questions, I'm humbled.
And I felt that with your response, because I was saying to Brian, I was like, I don't want him to feel like he's doing me a favor. I want him to be here because he wants to be here.
I love being here. I love talking about myself.
No, you're supposed to love me interviewing you.
I love when you make me talk about myself.
Okay, so it kind of segues from that. So in my research, you said you had label interest with the first Starbelly album. Looking back, would you have handled anything differently? Or in a way, are you content with how everything evolved because it helped to mold you into the musician you are today?
Yes, that for sure. Yeah, so when Starbelly first got together, we got this real hot shot manager from LA, which is how we met that guy Jason that I was just talking about. And he really took a shine to us. He really liked us. And we flew to LA. We were there for like three weeks, and we filmed videos and we played shows and all the stuff you do when you try to knock on record company doors and things like that. And we felt really good at the time that we were pretty close to getting a record deal. Like we were elbowing with like famous people and they really liked us, man. And then I don't know what happened, but basically what happened was the boy groups, sort of like NSYNC and like Backstreet Boys, became the popular thing, as like we were sort of a pop band in the vein of like Nirvana in a way, not quite that hard grungy, but quick 3-minute songs, harmonies. And so we were kind of trying to catch that. And then as that was sort of the rise of the boy bands, I like to call it. And plus I was 30.
Right.
I know, ancient. But, I was 30 or it might've been 31. And they're kind of like, they really want these young guys. And the Backstreet Boys were 20. So that's a lot. 10 years is a lot when you're 20 to 30. Yeah. So there's also the possibility that maybe our shit wasn't good. Or maybe it just didn't cut it. Or that's also a possibility. And it wasn't that we're the greatest band and What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It might not have been commercially viable. Nobody says that to you.
Right.
If you're an actor and you're in a movie and then you don't get a movie offer, they don't tell you that, you're just not good enough. They just don't offer you the movie. So maybe that's what it was. But I'm sad that we didn't get signed to a deal and we did touring, but we didn't get like a thing where you're on a bus and this is paid for and you're playing over here and then again, looking back, I know who I was looking back at that point in my life. I don't think I would have handled it well. Mm-hmm. I don't think my ego would have allowed me to handle it well. Because I know other guys that did get deals, and then once all that dried up, they did not handle it well. And that was a crushing defeat for them. So if you're never up there, you don't fall so far from grace because you're not there.
Yeah.
So in one aspect, I'm very glad. I am very happy today. I have been happy for dozens and dozens of years. But I wonder sometimes, I wish we would have, because, if you did get signed back in the 90s and you got one hit song, you're touring all summer now as an oldies group. You're going out with Smash Mouth and you're playing all these festivals.
Yeah.
And we have friends that are in all those bands, but I don't regret any of it. And I was able to be a full-time musician and still raise my daughters. But yeah, it worked out pretty well for me. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah. I have a bunch of Starbelly questions coming up. So Brian Ewald replaced Cliff Hillis for the second album.
Yes.
And the tone of the music changed. You wrote 90%. You said it was a little darker record.
Yeah, true.
And you were not in a great place. So
Correct.
How did you get out of that?
It was darker because when our first record came out, it was we're going up. And then by the time that second record came out, Cliff had left the band. He wanted to go. He was going to go to work for another band, John Fay, up in Philly. Great. And at the time, it seemed like you weren't in a lot of bands. You were in, this was your band or that's your band, but you couldn't do both. So he left, and we had known Brian. Brian joined the band. And part of that record, it's darker because my marriage was failing. I was mourning the loss of Cliff, my brother in the band. And I thought we were going to be,
together forever.
The Everly Brothers or the Lennon McCartney guys. And so it was dark because I was really heartbroken about it. I was really, really that. And I could see my marriage falling apart. I could, you try to keep it together. So if you're that person who was, you're in the public eyes to the small degree that you are, you just play music on the weekends, whatever it is. You can't be out there going, my marriage is failing.
The tears pouring down.
You can't do that. You got to. But everything's fine here. Everything's just fine. Oh, we're great. You have. Yeah. Meanwhile, all this turmoil. So it just plays out like it plays out. If you've ever been married in it and your marriage has failed. Marriages fail. That you have to come to terms with it, and then you have to deal with. If you have a child, you have to deal with all those things. And if you're lucky, you find someone and someone helps you, and you may not even be looking for it. Again, I'm paying tribute to my wife, Sherry, but it could be anyone. In this case, for me, I met her at the right time. Doesn't mean I met her and everything was great.
Right.
Because you meet someone and now you've got to figure out all this stuff is unraveling and all this stuff that you're just opening that are brand new. And these things, they kind of, you have to work through everything. Yeah. So I guess to answer that question, the way I worked through it was sometimes you have to close a door and you open a door and then there's new challenges. And I think the only way to get through it is to get through it, if that even makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah, I wish I could say, well, I did this and I did that.
I went into therapy and I did
you know what I mean? It's like if you ask a chess champ, how did you beat him? Well, I did kings and rook, and then because I knew he would do that, and then I did that, and you're like, God, you're a genius. But if you ask a guy who, like me, it's just like, I just worked through it somehow, and you start to find joy in life again. If you've ever been, I don't think I've ever suffered from depression, but if you're sad a lot, it doesn't mean you're depressed. It just means you got some crap going on.
Yeah.
And you got to find a way to, and once that sort of dissipates, then you're. Now, I knock wood, Ms. Wood.
Yeah, me.
Mrs. Wood. like there's a lot of joy in my life. I have a lot of joy, and there's some heartache as there is
Always.
to every life. Some rain must fall, but there's a lot of joy, and I choose to embrace it. And luckily for me, I've never really had to deal with an addiction of other than drinking a little too much bourbon on occasion. But be smart about it. But I'm good. My wife is good. My kids are good. My siblings are good. I have a grandson. He's awesome. And, I have two sons-in-law. I'm really happy at this point in my life. And I always go back. I don't know anybody luckier than me. I mean, because there's by no measure should I be as successful as I am. But I mean, I'm a success because I get to do what I want for a living. Yeah. That is a success. I don't give a crap what anybody says.
I agree.
You do that, you got it, man. Well over 90% of the population. So, yeah.
Prior to the third Starbelly record, you took 4 years off.
Yes.
What did you do?
Yeah, just played a lot. Played a lot. Actually, it was actually a lot longer than that, but but that's okay. But it was a lot.
Well, how long was it?
It was.
Well, I know it was like 10 years.
It was a 10-year before the record came out, but Starbelly had played without Cliff for a while, and then we had a friend of ours, Rob, join the band for a little while, and then it just seemed like we were all sort of drifting a little bit in different projects, and just kind of Starbelly didn't seem like a priority at some point, to the point where we didn't even play for a year or two, and then Cliff and I had started chatting again. Sounds like a romance, and it is, but we're just started, like, I forgave him in my head because I wasn't mad at him. I was just heartbroken.
Yeah.
I was just heartbroken that my friend, and then we did a lot of talking, and we got, and I love him. I mean, I love all the guys in the band. I really do. So he and I'd written a song and I sent it to him, and he said, let's do another Starbelly record. I'm like, well, would you be in Starbelly? He's like, yeah, I mean, there's no reason for, and he's like, and Brian too. And I'm like, yeah. We're a 4-piece now. So we did this record. It just, because we were all so spread out, I'd write a song and I'd go to Cliff's house and we'd record it. And then we'd, now you can fly shit to people. And so, sorry,
it's easier. That's okay.
To fly, then Brian could lay a track down. And then we collaborate. And it took a while to do it. But that record is called Starbelly 4. And it's really a good record. And it did really well in terms of sales and some radio play. And so.
What are the biggest differences between the album where after Cliff left and then with him, like what are the similarities, differences?
Yeah, similarities, the first two records. So the first one has Cliff and the second one has Brian. Similarities because I wrote most of the songs on those records. Stylistically a little different because now Brian was the guitar player. And Brian Ewald is probably the most gifted guitar player I've ever met in my life. Stylistically, he can do anything. It's just, he does things that I'm like,
Blown away.
Yeah. Where the first record, and Cliff's a songwriter and he plays really good guitar. Brian is a great guitar player who's also a songwriter. You know what I mean? So the focus changed that way somewhat. And it all really came together by that record that we put out a few years ago. Because then I've got my collaborator back, my songwriting buddy, who literally, as I'm playing him apart, will go, I'm like, Ray, you don't like that? No. Which is great, because it takes, that's another growth thing, My ego,
it takes a lot.
25 years ago would have been like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, cool. If you don't, I have so much respect for him, and vice versa. If I'm like, I don't like that, he'd say, all right, well, let's find something else. We don't have to define what it is, but something doesn't fit right. There's an ingredient that doesn't help.
Yeah.
So that record, and then Brian is a whiz on the guitar, and it's just it was everything that should have been was finally. It all came together. So yeah, that's a cool record. I'm really proud of that one.
Yeah.
I really am. 4 is the name of that record.
Now, this is not to take away from any place around here, but do you have a favorite place you like to play, or like a place you think is your home base? And it doesn't take away from any places around
I mean,
here.
that changed, but I play at Fallston Barrel House a lot. I think they're one of the most unique owners, Bill and Ellie, that I've ever met, and having done this 2/3 of my life, I've never met owners of a restaurant, bar, or club, that music is our focus. Music goes hand in hand with the food we serve you, with the drinks we serve you. I've never met a more accommodating woman than Ellie. If I'm booked and something comes up where maybe some big guy from Nashville's in town, she could easily call me and say, hey, I'm going to have this guy play. I'm going to cancel you for tonight. She'll say, why don't you play here? Or would you like to play early? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of owners that would do that. They'll just say, hey, man, I'm going to make a lot of money with this guy.
Right.
And you have a nice night, but this guy, So she'll accommodate. So Falls Maryland, my favorite place. I love playing anywhere I play.
Yeah.
But it's something special about that place.
What legacy would satisfy you where you would say to yourself, yeah, that's a job well done? Like from us, like,
That's sweet. That's a really sweet question. I hope, I laugh all the time. I'm like, they're never going to put up a statue in front of the courthouse in Bel Air for me. That's not happening. But I say, I have an 8-year-old grandson, Will. He's just a remarkable kid, as every grandfather would say about their grandson. But I want somebody, I hope someday, like when he's my age, maybe when he's 40, to have someone walk up to him and say, I heard Dennis Schocket was your grandfather. And he said, yeah. And then they tell my grandson a story about me. That's a legacy. Or, you probably don't know this, but he helped me do this. Or maybe I just helped somebody change a tire. I mean, I think that's a gift. If somebody comes up to me and says, I knew your dad, I worked with your dad. What? And they tell me a story. That's a gift. I mean, that is a true gift. I don't think anyone could give you a better gift than telling you a story about someone that you love so much that you didn't know. So that to me is a legacy. Plus I have recordings, and I hope my grandson or all my grandkids, how many I have, I hope they hear it and go, that's my grandfather. Yeah. Like I would love that recording of my grandfather. Yeah. I don't, because I know. But it would be, so that's my legacy. And I really hope that, I can be surly, sarcastic, opinionated. I can be a bit of an ass, but I hope people, will go, he's a pretty good dude. He helped me do this, or he did that, or, and you hear it sometimes when I hear Russ or friends of mine that I'm older than. You can't help but mentor someone when you're older. At least you shouldn't be able to help it. Like if someone came over and said, hey, I'd like to write a song. Great. Here's how I do it. Maybe I can help, or maybe I help you get a gig. Would you want to play there? I'll call them and see if they'll. That's what I want. I don't think there's anything more valuable than that. You could give somebody, here's a brand new guitar, and they might remember he gave me a guitar. But if you really help somebody further their passion in whatever form, it's something that stays with somebody. Like you have kids. There's nothing that makes you love somebody more than when they're kind to your kid.
Oh, right? I know.
You know what I mean? If somebody takes the time and you see them sit down to your daughter and one of them can go, and they do this, and then you say, oh my God, so-and-so really helped me. You're like, I love that person. Yeah. That's the coolest thing I think anybody could ever do. Anybody who's nice to your kids.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
It's the same spirit. Yeah.
What's your favorite song that you have written and why? That one.
Well, I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs. There's, I find the songs that I write that are real personal. Like I've written songs about my wife, my daughter, my siblings, my friends, and so they're the ones that stick. There's one called "The Boy Who Learned How to Cry," which is on the last Starbelly record, which I wrote about my father, who was very stoic and very, and I only saw him cry twice in my life, and it doesn't matter when, but because he was from that generation, the generation ahead of me, you didn't cry. I cry all the time. I almost did earlier. But that song and the guys in Starbelly, when I brought that to the recording session, I'm like, and I had played on piano. I'm not good at piano, but I could play it. And when I got done playing, they all were like, wow, that's really good. So, and it's very meaningful. It's basically, a tribute to all of our dads, really, our dads who have given a lot of themselves to give up so you can, have a life that you had or whatever it was. My father, he was in the Army, and when he got discharged, they dropped him off in California. He was from Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
And he was in California,
wow.
right? So they drop you off and you're like, world. Here's your money, find your way home, right?
Wow.
So all his friends, all his Army buddies stayed in LA, and they all became cops. This is in the 50s. I remember talking to him, and I said, why didn't you just stay in LA and become a cop? And because he was an MP in the Army, and he said, I had to go home and take care of your grandmother, because my grandmother was single mother, had raised him. And he literally could have lived in sunny California, but he had to go all the way back to Brooklyn to take care of his immigrant mother who had nothing. And that was like, I thought, wow, that's, and all he didn't have any siblings, but his cousins that he grew up with, they all went on to be big shots. Like one was the mayor of Hoboken, and another one was a Pulitzer Prize winning cartoonist.
Oh, cool.
And my dad just not settled, but he took care of his mother. He married my mother. He moved his kids out to Long Island like he was supposed to do. He got a job. He lived his whole life, and he kind of gave up his thing. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to be a professional golfer or whatever, and he just didn't do it. So I thought that was pretty good material. It was very moving, and the song's very moving. That's probably my favorite. Yeah,
and I bet he's very proud of you because you're doing what he wasn't able to do.
He lived long enough where he got to see that I do it for a living, and he was always amused by it. He didn't understand it.
Yeah,
he would say, how come you can remember all these songs, but you can't remember to clean your room? like that with his Brooklyn accent. Yeah. So, yeah.
Without the accent.
Yeah. But yeah, so both my parents were very nice. And but that song, that's one that really sticks with me.
Is that probably your favorite song that you've written?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a few for a different thing. There's some songs I've written, this EP that Cliff and I put together called Pop Girls, Etc. There's all the songs I wrote on that are favorites. I love them. It's just really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What's the best musical advice you received?
Well, I don't know, but I know the best musical advice I can give.
Okay.
I'll go there because I probably got this and I've interpreted it into what I say. I tell anybody who will listen that if you play music in a bar, let's just use that, show up on time, be prepared, make sure your gear works, be sober. When you get there. When you get there. I mean, you can't have a feel. Do your job as professionally as you can. Be kind to everyone. Don't make a scene. Don't argue with anybody. When you get done, pack up your shit as soon as you can. Doesn't mean you can't hang out and say hi to your friends, but pack up your stuff, get paid, thank the person who pays you, and then go home. Doesn't mean you can't stay for 20 minutes and chat or whatever, or you stay for an hour, or whatever works for you. But you need to go home because that's what a professional does. A professional in any business, if you worked in an office, you show up on time, you work, you're polite, you're cordial, you do your job, even if it's tough, even if somebody's yelling at you or somebody's not being kind, don't lose your temper. Just, hey, man, I'm sorry, I just don't know that song. I'm really... Say hi to your mother. Thanks. Whatever. But, and when you're done work, you get done work, you go home. And that's what you do because the biggest thing the mistake you can make is that you think you're privileged because hey, I'm up here and everybody's looking at me or the rules don't apply to me or it's not a job. I just do it for fun.
Right.
Even if you do it for fun, you should still follow all those guidelines because you pack up your stuff because the worst thing can happen is you get done, you're talking to everybody, and then as the night wears on, people get drunker and your equipment becomes more imperiled. Right. Your guitar's sitting there, your gear's and I learned that the hard way. Drunks fall into your stuff and now your stuff's broken and it costs you money. Or you're like, oh, I need to get home and I've got 20 minutes left because now I have to pack all that stuff up. So that's my advice to anybody, Yeah. But yeah. That's what I would say.
What's your best life lesson learned?
Be humble. And you can be humble to a fault. I like to think a lot of people that I love and care for are that way. You could tell them, it's difficult to take a compliment. A lot of people are that way. If somebody comes up and they go, you sound wonderful. the last thing you should say is, oh God, I sound like crap.
Right.
You should just say, thank you. That really means a lot, because it does mean a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you hear it 100 times or once, but I think humility goes a long way, and it keeps you in check. Like I said, I'm good at my job. I know I am. And I only know I'm good at my job because I keep getting to do it. If I worked for you and I wasn't good at what you hired me for, I wouldn't get to do it. So I know I'm good at it. I know I'm not the greatest at it. I could name 10 people that do what I do that I think really kill it. I've named a few already. And I know some people that aren't as good as me, but I'd rather help them to get to a level where they feel that they can, you know what I mean? And I don't mean to sound altruistic, which I am, but I don't mean to be like, I just want to help people. I do.
Yeah.
But I want to, I think that's like the life lesson is the worst thing you can do. And I've said this to people, and it struck me where wow, you sing great. I mean, how can anybody sing like that? And the guy, and I won't name him, he went, well, I can. And he was very, it just struck me. I just went, ew. In my head, I went, ew. I went, ew. And he walked away, and I just went, ew. Like it wasn't like, and he's great. He's a great, he's a great singer, and he's really good, but there's more to it than that. There's more to life than looking pretty. There's more to life than sounding good. There's more to life than being a fast runner. There's like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that's it. Like you're not special just because you can do something special. You're not better, more special. You know what I mean? Like
you have to appreciate your talent.
Yeah, like I was saying, I can. It takes nothing. It's not pie. There's plenty. It's not like, well, if I say you're good at this, there's less of that for me. That's not how that works.
Right.
You know, local bands. It used to be back when I was young, you competed with bands, so you never went. Lodi's, they're good, but don't tell them. You'd be like, nah, they're all right. Like you could, I will sing to the heavens how good they are, or Never Never, or Gary Ziegler, or Ricky Wise, guys like these guys that I admire that we all play this thing sort of. And there's guys that when I see them again, they're not quite there yet. They'll get there. Yeah. They will. I mean, it doesn't mean they're not going to be, or
they're not capable.
They're not capable. Yeah, it's just, I might have a head start, or that particular band might have a head start. But it's okay to support your rivals. It's okay. You see it in the Olympics. They hug, and they're like, I'm so happy you got the gold and I got the silver. Like, that's okay.
And it's good to have that variety, because even if they're not quite as good, or if they're a hair better, you're not getting the same show. Right. So it's good to have, that's why it's good to support each other, because it's good to have that variety.
Corey Garrison is a great example. Corey, I love the guy. Now, I saw his band play at the beach. I hated every song he played. I told him, he's like, how do we sound? I'm like, you sound friggin' great. I hate your music. And he laughed, and because again, I don't like any of those songs that he was playing. This song, I don't really hate them, but I was just like, it's not my thing. But they're so good at it. And it takes nothing for me to say to him, you got to sound great. Or you're great at this. That doesn't mean it's for me. Right. But you're great at this. It's like, I don't watch soccer, but God, that team's really good. Yeah. Do you know what's happening? Not really, but I can tell they're really good at it. But that's it. But, we should support each other. And I know it's cliche to say that, especially on a local level. But we do have a really, again, that the community is really good, because we all support each other. We really, really do. I think that's, there's some outliers. It's okay. Not everybody's going to Pollyanna all up in this bitch like I am. But, we all should. Yeah. Because, again, it takes nothing away from your own. It's like
your own show.
Your own show. It's like my show's good, and it's not good every night. It's not good every night. Some nights it's great. Some nights it's off. It's okay. Yeah. What happened? I don't know. I was tired, or I showed up late, or whatever it is. It's not always great, but you try to make it great. Yeah.
What was your scariest moment on stage? Did you ever have a scary
scary in a way, like overwhelming was like playing at the Cavern. That was, I wasn't scared. I was just like, really in that moment, like I was saying earlier, I was very emotional because I got my guys, we're playing our music at that place. And it was scary because I was so attuned to what was happening. I was so like, it's one of the only times I could picture every single person who was in, like 400 people. I could look at every single one crammed in that little room. And my wife over here and all the guys' wives, and they're beaming because they know how much it means to us. Like, so that was scary in that I have total recall of it. And a scary moment was playing the 15 Mile House in Reisterstown 30 years ago when this guy punched me flat in the face.
Oh
Boom,
my gosh.
because he wanted me to play an AC/DC song and my band didn't know any.
Oh gosh.
So
that's terrible.
And I was right in the front and he's screaming at it and I couldn't really hear what it said. So I leaned in, I went, "What?" He said, "You don't play any AC/DC?" I'm like, "Dude, no." And boom. Band played on. I was on the ground and bounced it through. Now, I was only scared because I was bleeding.
Yeah. But you survived.
I survived.
Thankfully.
A fat lip. None of that.
Good old Reisterstown.
Yeah. Reisterstown, buddy. 15 Mile House.
What about funniest moment on stage? Did you ever have a funny? I'm sure you had to have a couple
all the time. They happen all the time because it's so joyful to play music. And then it's usually when somebody will come up and sing with me or my buddy Bill Parker. Bill's a riot. And he'll come up and he'll sing and he's completely unflappable. And he'll sing a song and I'll be making little quips trying to get him to crack up. So if I can get him to laugh, then we both lose it. But I don't have one particular funny, but I'm sure hundreds of times. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
Or somebody will come by and say something. I really, it's really an enjoyable experience to do that. But, yeah.
I'm going to ask this locally.
Okay.
Your most heartwarming musical experience locally.
So I was talking about Rachel Hall earlier. So when Rachel was younger, in her teens, I just kind of met her. I was trying to encourage her to be a songwriter. It's back in the Starbelly early days, and we were trying to get a record deal. And I wanted her to record and to go in the studio because she's really good. She's as good then as she is now. She's really fabulous. And she'd written a song or two. So I wrote a bunch of songs and I gave her a demo. Here's a song. Gave her 2 songs, but this one in particular, I'd be like, take it. You can have that song, go record it and we'll get it on tape and at least you'll have a song. So that happened. And then maybe 20 years later, maybe it was 15 years, but it was quite a bit. I was hosting at 510 Johnny's, which don't look for it. It's not there anymore. I was hosting featured artist night on Tuesdays. It was once a month and I had an artist come up and they could do originals, whatever they wanted to do, but I would play and then they would play and then we would play together. It was really fun. And Rachel was my guest. So she came up and she played a couple of original songs. And then she said, "Hey, I'm going to play you a song that Dennis wrote for me 15 years or however long it had been. I forget the number." And she played a song called Sleep, which is on the new Starbelly, the latest Starbelly record. But I hadn't heard that song since I'd given her the demo. And I was moved to tears that I'd forgotten. A few reasons. I'd forgotten I wrote it. B, that she was sweet enough to bring it out after all. C, I was crying because it was so friggin' good. I can't believe I gave it away. And it was really, really moving. And she gave me a version of it. And then I took it with her permission. Like, I'm going to record that with Starbelly. So, and we did. I did so I took it back. But that was really moving. And I had a lot of things like that. But that one that just leaps to mind. So it was very, very sweet because I didn't know it was coming. So,
any last minute thoughts or anything you want to bestow upon me?
I would like to say this about Mrs. Wood here. This is great that you're doing this. I'm so happy. Guys like you and Brad Cox, who does the MOG, and what a really cool experience to be able to sit here and just talk about myself forever.
We could go on and on.
We could go. But thank you for listening.
Oh yeah.
Everyone. Thanks, Marni. It's so cool.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thanks, Marni.
You're welcome. Thank
so
you.
Fun.
And HUMA. So we're done. It's a wrap.
That was good.
It was good.